Millions of Americans across the country are in dire need of additional coronavirus relief this Thanksgiving. Unemployment rose again for the second straight week. The latest jobs numbers from the Labor Department reveal that more than 778,000 Americans filed for first-time unemployment benefits last week. That's 30,000 more claims from the previous week. We are now 8 months into the pandemic, and more than 20 million Americans are still receiving some form of unemployment benefits. However, an estimated 12 million Americans are expected to exhaust those benefits by the end of the year. For the latest on the next round of coronavirus relief, CBS News political reporter Grace Segers joins me now. Grace, thanks so much for being with us on this holiday.
Happy Thanksgiving. Glad to be here.
Now, earlier this week, President-elect Joe Biden spoke with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. He says he would like to see a stimulus plan passed before he takes office. But is that actually likely to happen? They've been talking about this for months. They're now in a lame duck session. Is that just a pipe dream?
Yeah, looking back, it appears as if Congress has been talking about this for over 6 months now. It's been months and months since the last bipartisan CARES Act passed. And it seems as if we've been propelled towards negotiations for a new deal for a very long time now. And unfortunately, it's looking increasingly unlikely that something is going to pass before the end of the year. Because not only are Democrats and Republicans still very far apart on several topics, but also they have another priority, which is passing government funding before the government shuts down on December 11th. So they have another big priority, and they're still very far apart on previous issues that remain unresolved.
And of course, the House Speaker says she's unwilling to accept any relief package below $2 trillion. But Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has shown little interest in entertaining any relief package over $500 billion. So besides the costs, right, besides the sticker shock, what are the main disagreements between the two sides?
So a big problem is funding for state and local governments. Democrats are really in favor of adding funding for state and local governments to be able to deploy resources to respond to the pandemic. But Republicans, and particularly the president, have argued that Democrats are just trying to do a bailout for blue states. So there's a lot of disagreement on whether there should be funding for state and local governments, and something that both sides seem to be unwilling to budge on. Another issue is a pet issue of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, which is liability protections. So he wants protections for businesses and hospitals and schools so that they can't be sued related to the coronavirus. But Democrats say this isn't an important priority and we should be focused on other things. And then, of course, as you said, there's the price tag itself, where McConnell and Senate Republicans want a far more targeted bill that addresses key priorities, while Democrats want something that is far larger, and both of them seem unable to meet in the middle.
But is there anything that they actually agree on? I mean, are there any areas of common understanding? Because for a time, there were some things they agreed on, but they kept shifting.
Yes, there are quite a few things that they agree on, actually. It's just that the big sticking points are the ones that are proving to be problematic. But they agree on extending funding for the Paycheck Protection Program, which aids small businesses. They agree on extending funding for schools, for improving testing and tracing. So there are several issues that they actually agree on, but it's these sticking points that make it very difficult for them to reach a deal, particularly since both sides are so entrenched.
Well, Secretary of the Treasury Steve Mnuchin is looking to move more than $450 billion in COVID relief funding from the Federal Reserve back into the Treasury's general fund. So what is he trying to accomplish with this move, and does it impact these negotiations?
You know, it's very hard to see what he's actually trying to accomplish with this move, because you saw the Federal Reserve, in a very rare rebuke, say that they disagreed with Mnuchin's decision. And it's hard not to see this as something petty, like trying to make it more difficult for the Biden administration to come in and implement coronavirus relief. So it's really unclear what he hopes to accomplish from this, because with the expiration of some of these programs, it's going to be very difficult for Americans who are already suffering from unemployment or concerned about losing their jobs. So that just puts an extra pressure on Congress to actually do something, because if these funds go back to the Fed, again, that's going to hurt Americans currently benefiting from these programs. So Congress really has one more reason that it just needs to act quickly. But unfortunately, we're probably not going to see that.
And the outcome of Georgia's Senate runoff will also impact this, right?
Yes, it will. So right now, we're not sure who will control the Senate in the new year, because Republicans right now have a very slim majority of 50 to 48, but there are two important Senate runoff elections in Georgia in January. And if Democrats win both of these seats, then that would give the Senate a 50-50 split, meaning that Vice President-elect Kamala Harris would be able to break a tie, therefore giving Democrats a very small majority. So this means that Democrats would control the House and the Senate and the presidency. So Biden would be able to implement some of his policy priorities. But if Republicans hold one or both of those seats, then Republicans will maintain control of the Senate, meaning that it'll be a lot harder for Biden and House Democrats to get these priorities through.
Grace, thank you so much.
Thank you.